finish up tonight with the tools that are responsive, which means when you're having an issue of some sort, how do we handle those in a way that maintains the felt safety and keeps us moving forward? So again, the goal is the 3 C's for the children to stay connected and at the end of it to be content, and think of that as just there's peace, right? Peace in them, peace in you. And that over time, changed behavior is going to result. You know, part of this is about reframing how we see the behaviors and the meltdowns and the just the episodes that we're trying to deal with, because I think it's really easy for us to see those moments as failures, either on our part or the child's part, right? But I would really hope that you could be able to reframe that from a failure to an opportunity, which I get that's pretty, that may be a stretch at first. But if you can see that as an opportunity for both, for you to practice in your parenting style, and for the child to maybe practice a new skill, and to be gaining some confidence in the fact that they can self-regulate, and that you're there to help them, and that they can trust you to hang in there with them. So try to reframe that behavior from, oh man, I'm failing as a mom, or they're failing as a kid, to this is an opportunity for teaching and for eventual connection as we work this through, okay? It also is an opportunity for the kids to feel, instead of they're a bad kid, that they're a kid who can do it right, as we're going to show you the steps through this, okay? So the first responsive strategy is the ideal response, and really these two things, like Melissa said, they go together. And the ideal response is an acronym, which we'll walk through real quickly, but it's kind of the how we're going to approach it, and then the next part, which is the level of engagement, is the actual steps of how we're going to engage the behavior. But the ideal response is kind of the style, or just the way that it's going to unfold, okay? So the I in ideal is immediate. You really want to, as much as you can, engage the behavior as quickly as possible. And part of that is because short-term memory holds information really briefly, especially in young children. They say as little as 3 seconds, okay? And so that's why they want you to try to get there as quickly as you can to deal with that behavior. Any other thoughts on why that would be optimal to deal with the behavior immediately rather than letting it slide?
Because my kids can't remember anything they've done.
Exactly.
Do you remember why you were in timeout for 3 minutes?
And that's really true. Any others?
It links it to the behavior?
Yeah, exactly. Links it immediately to the behavior. I think, too, there's a real trust-building thing that I had never thought of before. Mom is going to be there when I need her. When I'm starting to unravel and dysregulate, Mom's going to be right there. I don't need to amp up to get her attention, because sometimes I think that's what our kids are doing. They're spinning out of control, partly because they need us and they don't know how to ask for that, okay? So the D is direct, and that's some of the things that we learned in the connecting strategies of eye contact, getting down on their level, making sure that they're really hearing us and seeing us. Remember, we talked about with some of our sensory kiddos, they may not be hearing us and seeing us if we don't make sure that they do. Or if they're also, a lot of our kids, if there's any trauma in the background, are what we call hypervigilant, which means they're going to be attending to everything in the environment most of the time. So if we don't have their focused attention, we're not down there with them, they may not really be hearing us. They're responding kind of like, but they're not really hearing us. So making sure that we're really with them. And then the E is about efficiency, and this is about matching the level of misbehavior to the level of response. Because who as a parent hasn't ever totally overreacted, right? I hope I'm not the only one. But there's a lot of problems with that, breaking of the trust being one of the major ones. But also, if I start off with all my big guns, where do I go from that? So making sure that we start as lightly as we can, and again, because like Melissa was talking about, we're trying to stay on that playful engagement level because the play disarms the fear and it makes the learning faster. Okay? So we always want to return to playfulness too, after, even if it gets more intense, we want to come back there. And then the A is about being action-based, okay? Because we want to, part of the goal is to, in the changed behavior, is to teach them a new skill, right? We want to teach them how to handle being dysregulated, or how to handle when they're frustrated. Not just correct the behavior, that's part of it, but it's not all of it, because if they don't have a new skill, then the behavior is just going to happen again. Okay? And then the L is level to the behavior and not the child. So important with any kid, you know, kid from a hard place, kid from not a hard place. We want them to understand that if we're frustrated, it's about the situation and not about them, and that's maintaining that connection that we've talked about. You are precious to me, and that's why I'm going to correct you, right? So you are precious to me, and that's why I'm going to stay with you to the end of this process. It's not about them being bad. Like she said in one of the videos, they have enough shame to last them a lifetime. We're going to make sure that they know it's about the behavior and that that's not acceptable, but that they are precious and valued. Okay, setting the bar is another piece to this, and there's 3 short clips that we're going to watch to kind of illustrate that. But setting the bar is about the level of expectation we have for the child, okay? And there's a couple of things to remember in that, and one is, well, there's 3 things. The history of the child, okay? So if there's a history of trauma or neglect or abuse for that child, that's going to affect how high our expectation is for how they respond as we correct them. Where they are developmentally. Because are we expecting too much from a 2 or 3-year-old, or do we need to raise the bar a little bit because they're getting older and they can manage a little better? And the third thing is their current state. Remember when we talked about empowering? It's about how long has it been since they've had anything to eat? What kind of a night did they have last night? Are they tired? Are they getting sick? Just kind of keeping that in mind as we set the bar. So that sometimes, even for the same child, we may expect a little less because we know they're too tired to do very well. And we're going to take whatever we can get as far as compliance. And then other times we know they're okay, and we're going to say, no, I really need you to do that with respect. Come on, buddy. And we're going to raise the bar, okay? Okay, so this clip is going to show you a low bar. And this little kiddo, if you notice him in any of the other clips, he seems to be really hypervigilant. He's always kind of like this, okay? She's trying to do the 3 questions that Dr. Purvis is trying to do the 3 questions that they do every morning when the kids come in. And he just is so distracted by the fact that there's a cameraman there that he cannot do it. And so she's going to really lower the bar to get any response to that she can.
Press escape. Yeah.
Every morning we're going to ask 2 questions for Mom, okay? And I'm going to ask Mom when I ask, look at me. Do you want to look in the camera? Would you like to look at the camera now or after I ask 2 questions? That's kind of cool. You know what? We're going to put you on TV. We're going to play this on our big screen TV. You and all the kids. Do you want to, let me see. Okay, wait, let me ask you a question. So you have 2 choices. Do you want to look at the camera first and then ask questions, or do you want to ask questions and then look at the camera? Which do you want to do first? Mama's questions or look at camera?
Look at the camera.
Hey, let me see it. We'll see it on TV today. Can talk right there. Are you singing on a microphone?
We have a picture.
Where? Right here. This whole thing is a giant microphone. There you go. All right. So let's let those guys go back to wait. Can you say thanks, guys?
Thanks, guys.
Okay, give me 2 fingers, and we're gonna ask questions now. And let me see, guys, buddy. In a little while, we'll put you on TV. Okay, you'll be famous. You can dance and show them stuff. Okay? All right. Mama, while you're gone, may I hold your hands for just a minute? Thank you, buddy. Hey, tell you what, let me see, guys. Look at me first. Jace, give me eyes, buddy. And then after we ask questions, you can dance for him for a minute, okay? Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mama. Okay. Watch Miss Karen when I ask. Jace, Miss eyes, buddy. Just be nice, buddy. Watch me when I ask and watch Mama when she answers, okay? Is it okay for us to be the boss for your son while he's in camp today?
Yes.
Look at Mommy's eyes. What did Mommy's eyes say?
Yeah.
Okay. And if he needs a hug, may we give him a hug? What was my question? What did I ask Mama? The second question? If you need a, can we give you a hug? Is that the question? So, yes, if we give a hug, if he needs a hug, can we give you a hug? Now ask Mom, look at Mama's face.
It's okay if other people give you a hug today.
Only with Mommy's permission, right? Is that okay? We have Mommy's permission. So you want to dance for this guy for 2 minutes and then go to your classroom?
Can I watch it on TV?
In a little while. Oh, you guys are so good, so good. We got movie stars going here.
Does anybody start to feel frustrated? But I love the way she just hangs in there with him. It's a good example, too, of the fact that he really wasn't hearing her. He got the word hug, so he hugged his mom, but he just really was having a hard time attending. But I love the way she just hangs in there with him and patiently lowers the bar, lets him mess around with the microphone. You might not be able to do that every time, but if you can, that's just saying to him, I'm going to hang in there with you. We'll get through this. We'll get there.